Now, typically I'm not a huge fan of MMOs. It's not that I don't enjoy them, it's just that they're so freaking big. The worlds are huge, and I usually like a game with a bit better battling system. But when I found out about this other RPG that was going to be set in the DC universe, well, I got a little excited. So let's check out DC Universe Online. DC Universe Online is an ambitious project for Sony, as it's the first ever MMO RPG on consoles. Together with WB Games, they have created a huge world for online players to share, battle enemies and live out their superhero dreams. Yet does this idea work, or does it simply fall victim to the other PC ports where a lack of a mouse and keyboard harms the game's design? Well, being a huge DC fan myself, I was determined to find out. Here we go. The game opens with a great epic cutscene. It roughly outlines that Brainiac is launching a huge assault on Earth whilst taking all the superheroes' powers. To counter this, Lex Luthor makes it so every other citizen on Earth becomes a superhero themselves. This is where you come in. The amount of customization to your character is huge. You build on your own look, powers, style, and who's your mentor, and you can create 6 different characters. Choosing to be either a hero or a villain will change your path as heroes try to defend Earth and eliminate its supervillains, and the villains try and do the opposite. The story is okay, but this world of DC characters is a delight to explore. There's a strong online community, and I love seeing all the different characters people had made for themselves. As wonderful as the DC universe is, there are bugs littered throughout. You also have to install a heck of a lot of game data onto your system, and menus are slow to navigate, but does this ruin the fun? Absolutely not. From Batman to Wonder Woman to Green Arrow and the Flash, they're all here, and the best part about it is that you can fight alongside them and even delve into a couple of their backstories. I was surprised with how good the visuals were in DCU, as I expected much less for a new MMO. Character customization allows you to create so many options, and you'll rarely see a character that looks similar to another. Fighting is fast and fluid, and you'll gain access to a lot of moves as you level up. It may not be as stylized as other action-based games, but the amount of moves still keeps you entertained. My highlight was the cities themselves. I'll admit, as a Superman fanboy, I spent a lot of time just flying around the beautiful metropolis. It looks and feels like a genuine DC world, and they capture the good and evil surroundings perfectly. But beware the pop-in textures, buggy movements, and little glitches every now and then. This can also affect your voice chat, which is pretty annoying. The theme music and much of the sound effects sound like they're straight from the pages of a comic book, but the voice work can range from being really good to quite poor. After choosing who your character is and applying your powers, acrobatic abilities and which side you'll be fighting for, you'll be free to either save or rule the world. You'll level up relatively quickly, and at each level you'll gain skill points and attributes to improve your character's combat. The level cap is at 30, and it's recommended you group up with some friends to allow for an easier and faster game, though I played solo and I didn't feel it to be much of a grind. Apart from the main mission, you'll have side quests from random citizens and DC characters, races and even challenges from other foes. There's PvP modes available and alerts for group players, but they're not as indifferent from each other. A lot of the quests will have you destroying something or repairing someone and repeat. In this respect, working your way up to a boss after beating hordes of enemies can feel a little artificial. What DC Universe does do well is making you feel like you're your own hero. This is largely evident in the battles. Whilst you'll be mostly tapping 2 buttons to attack, you can customize which special attacks you have by upgrading your power tree. You can pick up objects to smash enemies and flick on and off your powers with ease. You'll have a bunch of pickups of weapons and stuff to collect, and there's a lot of stuff to personalise your character. But in the end, DC Universe is a pretty solid MMO, and whilst it's not going to amaze you, it's definitely not going to make you stop playing and enjoying yourself. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of MMOs, and DC Universe isn't particularly different from other titles like World of Warcraft when it comes to gameplay, but what really made it for me was the DC Universe itself. From travelling from Gotham to Metropolis, or taking orders from Superman himself, or simply just flying into a battle situation, I had a complete geek out throughout this game, and I'm sure other fanboys would. I suppose expert MMO fans are going to be a little frustrated with this game's approach to the MMO style, and there's a lot of bugs and stuff like that throughout the game, but For me, I had no problem with it, and I had a pretty good time. So I'm going to give it an 8.9 out of 10.01.